Today what I'm working on is framing out the 2x3 wall that goes kind of on behind the pocket door, and that's meant to be a stiffer wall than what the pocket door would provide so that the tile in the shower is not on too flexible of a surface. But I'm a couple 2x3 short from what I need for this wall, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig through my pile of scrap 2x4s from what I demoed and find a couple of pieces that, if I can find a couple of pieces that are long enough, then I'm just going to take it to my table saw and rip it down to the size of a 2x3 rather than making a trip to go get some more. All right, I'm bringing you inside the bathroom to show you what I'm looking at. I've got this all tapped into place. And let's see, starting with this door opening, the pocket door frame has these plates on the side with a little bit of a lip. So this stud needs to fit in behind that. And so that's one of the things I was making sure before nailing this up was to give myself a little bit of wiggle room here. Here, up here. So I give myself a little bit of wiggle room here so that I'm not too tight. I don't want to be, if this stud were on top of this plate, then it wouldn't allow it to fit in behind there. And then similarly on this side, I could have given myself even more wiggle room here, but I guess I was trying to keep this flush. But I didn't want to bring this in any tighter than the 2x4 because any tighter would mean my doorway just becomes that much smaller when it's all trimmed out. And then on this end, nice and flush up here with my first wall, then the 2x4 wall, the 2x3 wall. Same thing down here. And then I'm gonna have to get my electrical boxes in here for light switches. What else? I've got my center line of the shower marked right here. And so I centered one of my stud bays right there. I don't know what I'm going to need to do for the shower valve yet, but I try to give myself a nice wide spot there to get all of that plumbing in. So the shower valve will be here and shower head up here. So, and then I've got, I think it was about a 13-inch spacing or something. I think maybe this whole thing was 52 inches. So almost a 12-inch spacing for these studs. So this is a lot stiffer than just the pocket door frame by itself. I think that's for sure. It's not as stiff as a 2x4, but I've also got the spacing a little bit tighter. So anyway, I think this will be a better support for that tile. I don't want to have problems where if it flexes too much, then inevitably it's going to crack. So that's the point of it. That's the point of this whole wall, is just to have something sturdy to attach the tile to. Let's see, and then this was designed so that once the drywall is on that wall, really this whole depth should be 22 inches exactly, so that with the drywall here and the drywall here, my vanity I believe also is 22 inches. So the face of this wall will pretty much be flush with the front of the vanity that will go across here. And then I gave myself, it's a 72-inch vanity, I gave myself 72 and 1/8 of an inch between this drywall and that drywall. And so I just want to have a little bit of a wiggle room. I think they actually taper the vanity, like the back is 1/10 of an inch less wide than the front of the vanity. So that also is designed to help you be able to fit it in there. If it were exactly 72 inches. Anyway, I added 1/8 of an inch, which, may give me as much of a 16th inch gap on each side that will get silicone. Anyway, let's see, one thing over here. I'm trying to see if these corners are square. There's almost 1/8 of an inch. It's probably hard to see that dark gap there, but if you see, okay, so if I flush up that edge here, I don't know if you can see that, but there's almost 1/8 of an inch gap in there. You can kind of see between my square and the wall when it's all tight. And what I did at the top, so for this first top plate, I put a shim in there until the square was perfect, until it was perfectly square. So I think I'll do the same thing with the second top plate and with the bottom plate. The fact that it's out of square, I blame on whoever built this wall and not on my wall. Anyway, kind of joking, but I did measure everything off of this, so it's perfectly parallel, with my wall to the original wall. And then, I wasn't going to rebuild this wall. So if that's a little bit out of square with the original wall, then that is what it is. Yep, and then I've got to shoot this whole wall in still, which I think I'm going to start at that end and tap this all the way that way, and then get it, get it nice and square, and then get that wall. Yeah, you start at that end and get that installed, and then keep this bottom plate tight to the 2x4s here, and work my way this way. Come up to the top plate, get that square, work my way this way, and keep this nice and flush with the first top plate I already installed here. And then that I did it this way, installing the first top plate separate, and then building this out with the second top plate so that I can have something to shoot up into. So for this first top plate, I took 3.5-inch screws and went up into some solid blocking that I added between the ceiling joists. And then now that whole board is there. It's also screwed into the other top plates at the ends, and so, and also the 2x4 wall. I guess is really what this is going into. And then now I have something to shoot my other top plate into. I can shoot the nails up into this. If I had built all of this, in one piece and then tried to stand it up, then then a 3 or 3.5-inch screw would just barely poke, through the drywall and would not reach the solid blocking. So I would have to use some really long screws or something. So anyway, that's why I did it this way.